What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Second City Sports Talk. I'm Keaton here with Papa Bear. Tomorrow's the NFL draft. The Bears have the 20th overall pick. No one's really certain what we're going to do with it.
Yeah.
Yet. I mean, there's still a lot of possibilities.
Yeah, we'll talk about some of those possibilities. It's a big draft for the Bears for one main reason. We have a first-round draft pick. It's been a little while since we've had one of those, mainly to Ryan Pace kind of screwing up the last 3 or 4 drafts. I mean, to be honest, the only good pick he's had in the first round for a while is Roquan, right? All the other picks we know about, the most recent one being Mitch Trubisky leaving for the Bills now. It's just it's a big day for them to try to. It's not like I feel like Pace feels like maybe his job's on the line, and I think a lot of people feel that same way. I'm not sure he can totally screw this up because there's a lot of possibilities. They're at the 20th spot, and it's hard to know what they were going to do. I'm having a really hard time thinking if they're going to trade up or if they're going to stay where they are. There's just so many possibilities.
Yeah, I mean the Bears are in a weird spot because they were really mediocre last year, which gives them the 20th overall pick, which means they don't really have a chance at the 20th overall pick to get a QB.
Right.
Yet, I mean, it's still like they're not like good enough to the point where they don't really need a pick. They need a pick right now.
Yeah.
They need a first rounder, but they're kind of stuck with the 20th overall pick, which, I mean, no one really wants that at this point.
As fans, I think a lot of people want us to trade up, but I gotta think, Pace has got a little bit of like stage fright with that type of thing. Like, do I do that again and mess it up? The good thing is at least the top 5 QBs up there, if you're going to pick a QB.
Well, let's first assume that the Bears don't trade up. I mean, at this point, it does seem kind of unlikely. I mean, considering that, we're less than 24 hours before the draft, you would think that, maybe they would have traded up already, but who knows? I mean, a lot of trades happen.
Though breaking news recently, Teddy Bridgewater was traded to the Broncos.
I mean, that opens up a whole bunch of scenarios.
But
we'll talk about that.
Yeah,
we'll talk about that later. But the main contending positions for what we need right now is offensive tackle, cornerback, and of course the QB.
Right.
And I mean, I think most people at this point have kind of settled that we really need offensive tackle a little bit more than cornerback, but a lot of people say that Ryan Pace is more likely going to want to cover up for his mistake of letting go of Kyle Fuller.
Sure.
It is pretty interesting. It's an interesting question if you were to think just about cornerback versus offensive tackle. Obviously, they need an O-lineman to reinforce that line and help Andy Dalton.
If Dalton is truly going to be the starting quarterback, and that's written in stone, then you need some protection for him.
And at the same time, you saw last year once Jalen Johnson got injured in those last few games, there was only Kyle Fuller out there. He's gone now, and without Jalen Johnson last year, I mean the cornerbacks, they were just getting burned. It felt like for multiple games. But quarterbacks were just putting up big numbers on us.
Yeah.
So I see. I think there's a good argument for both positions.
Sure.
Me personally, I think you could probably get a solid cornerback in the second round.
In the later rounds, we've got a second, a third, a fifth, and then a bunch of 6th-round
picks. We do need cornerback, and I think there is a shortage in the league for really good cornerbacks right now.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think if we're building for the future, we need an offensive lineman.
Yeah. And an argument for taking an offensive lineman and kind of staying out of the QB race is, next year's QB draft is probably going to be even better. And there's still this weird possible chance of getting somebody like Russell Wilson after the I think June 1st is when there's some sort of trade clause that happens so they can trade him away a little cheaper. So there's still that odd possibility. So why trade up? Well, why trade in the bank when you might get something later in a later round? Maybe pick up another QB in the later rounds.
There's also the scenario where a QB does drop into the 20th overall pick somehow.
Crazy.
I mean, most people think at this point that there's no way that any of the top 5 QBs, go undrafted by the time it gets to the number 20th.
Out of the 5, who would it be if it was? Would it be Jones?
It's going to be Jones or Justin Fields. The Patriots seem really keen on Justin Fields. There's a good chance that they trade up with like the Panthers to go get that pick. So, I mean, it's pretty certain at this point that the Trey Lance, Zach Wilson, Trevor Lawrence, Trevor Lawrence, I'm thinking about the Cubs right now. Trevor Lawrence, they all go 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, that's a good chance there.
So that leaves Jones and Justin Fields, and I think it really just depends on what teams think they need. If teams think that they don't need a QB in that moment, that maybe they'd be willing to trade down or go grab some other position. Yeah. There's always a possibility, and then like, what do we do in that case? Do we actually draft a Mac Jones?
I don't know. Maybe if he falls into 20, if you don't take him and then he becomes a superstar, then it's going to look horrible if you don't take him. If they're dead set locked in on who they're picking for 20, they're just going to stay there. You're not going to see any trade.
I think the Bears though, with this draft, because there's 5 big name QBs that could go, you need to be kind of situational with your drafting. If a QB does fall, I don't think you have to be so stubborn to pick the guy that you had on the board the entire time.
I mean, picking an offensive tackle isn't nearly as exciting. Although I know there are some Bear fans from my past who are like, get some good guys on the line. Bolster up the offensive line.
Win the battle in the
trenches. Don't worry about this QB thing. But it's changed so much now that if you don't get a good QB, you're not winning in the NFL. And
I think
Dalton's not our long-term QB, but I don't think this is the year to pick up a rookie QB unless it is obvious to get it.
But at the same time, if you're in Ryan Pace's shoes, probably your last year if the Bears don't do anything. So it might even be kind of selfish for him to go grab, a QB, because that doesn't set us up for the future very well. Because if the quarterback's a bust, then the whole team is screwed.
Yeah. Definitely.
But that selfishness is very real for Ryan Pace, because if they don't do anything,
it's his job.
Then the Bears, he's probably sacked.
Yeah, he's definitely sacked. So.
Yeah. So I mean, the main thing I think I would be okay with. I don't see us trading up to top 10. I see us trading up with a team like the Chargers, who would definitely be one of those teams in the top 15 who would probably be willing to give up a pick. Probably be semi-expensive.
Yeah.
There's also always the possibility that we get a guy in the second round like Kyle Trask. I hate that.
I don't even. Where's Kyle Trask? Where's he from?
Florida.
Okay, it's a QB. There have been obviously late round draft picks that have been what Tom Brady was drafted in.
Russell Wilson was third round.
So it can happen, but there's no time. I mean, for Pace's job, not willing to wait for us Bears fans. We don't want to wait to find out if it's going to be years and years from now.
I think the Bears fans were only like 3 years removed from a playoff. Playoff appearance.
Is it time to totally sink the ship? No.
I think a lot of Bears fans would be upset saying, well, we just completely missed an opportunity if we don't get a guy. But in my personal opinion, I think we need to draft O lineman or we trade up. But that's only if there's a real possibility that we can get a guy. But I think at this point,
I feel like they need to sit in place. I mean, we lost our opportunity a couple years ago when we traded up for Mitch Trubisky. That was our real opportunity, and Pace's real opportunity to keep his job for
I also just I think last year the main reason why the Bears flopped so bad is because no one knew who the QB was. I mean, we started out with Mitch Trubisky, then Nick Foles, then Mitch Trubisky again. Yeah. That's not good for the team environment, and players like A-Rob have come out and said that really hurt us a lot, not knowing who was going to be throwing to us and having to create a game plan around 2 different QBs, different parts of the year. That can't happen. Yeah. If we're going to draft a rookie QB, we have to sit him the entire year. I'm sorry. I know if Andy Dalton starts struggling, Bears fans are going to be calling.
They'll probably, big trend.
They'll be calling for the rookie, but I just don't think that's good for the team.
Yeah. Well, we don't know what's going to happen. We're less than 24 hours away from the draft. It's a really exciting one. Like I said, I'm going to watch it this year. I usually don't. And I hope you all tune in. Let us know what you think. Who do you think the Bears are going to draft? What do you think they're going to do? Are you going to trade up? Going to stay where we are? Who are we looking for the most?
Still a lot of questions.
A lot of questions out there.
And remember, other things could affect the Bears that aren't necessarily us. If other teams start trading down or trading up, that could be huge for the Bears.
Definitely. All right, well, that was a quick episode for us. We'll probably come and talk about how bad the Cubs are doing at some point in the next episode. Make sure you like and subscribe below. Let us know what you think about this draft, all right?
All right, that's it for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you in the next one.
Take care.